Hey guys, Icy Cat here. We've got some news on a couple of defenders that are being changed on the test server that fundamentally alter the way that they both play. One receives a significant buff and the other a game-altering nerf. We'll go over everything in the test server changes next. The newest test server patch notes are out. I will put the link for this in the bottom underneath the video player if you want to check these out for yourself. And they have a lot of the normal kinds of things that you would expect to see as far as, bug fixes and things like that. But the two things that we are going to be spending the bulk of this video talking about are the balancing changes for two operators. So the first one here is going to be a change to Kuvira, and she's getting a nerf to her pistol. They say that given her current win delta, they feel CAV is a little strong and want to make her less frustrating to play against. This change seeks to put more focus on emphasizing her role as a stealth and precision operative. So to do that, her damage on her pistol is being decreased to 65 from the 99 it was previously. Adjustments to damage drop-off are now going to align with other pistols for consistency. They are also reducing the magazine size to 12 from 15 and increasing recoil to make chaining shots at long range more challenging. Also increasing the hip fire spread to reduce the viability of spamming non-ADS shots. Now, I feel like this is a case where the operator herself wasn't broken in any specific way, and the reason that she has a high win delta and is maybe somebody that is often picked is because she would be someone that would be favored by a typical type of player, the aggressive roamer, and that is what she is designed for from the ground up. Players that have strong map knowledge can make a lot of use of her through rotations, whether they're through windows or trapdoors or anything like that to get around and flank opponents. And it's the play style of people that will choose people like her that makes her strong. This is one reason why people get frustrated with Ashe mains or Jaeger mains or even Ela mains, people like that. These are fast, 3-speed operators. They rotate quickly, they move around quickly, they get into flanking positions quickly. With strong map knowledge, you can really use these kinds of players to a strong ability. And I feel like this operator didn't necessarily need that kind of a nerf. It's just that she's so strong because she attracts a certain player based on her primary role as a roamer, and her 3-speed is always going to be attractive to those more aggressive players. So if you're a CAV main, you're definitely going to notice some changes if these wind up going into effect. Now, I do want to stress that things that are done on the test server aren't necessarily things that translate into the full live build later on, but they often do. So whether or not these changes in their current form or what we wind up seeing later or not will remain to be seen. The next defender getting a significant change is going to be Clash, and instead of a nerf, she's getting a decent buff. They say that by changing her SPS MG9 into a pseudo primary, that will give her a bit more efficiency and firepower. We want to improve her performance in situations where she lacks team support. So to do this, they are upgrading that SPS MG9 to full automatic fire mode from the 2-round burst fire it previously had. They're updating the recoil to align with other full auto weapons and increasing the total ammunition to 161 rounds up from 121. Also, damage increase is going to 33 up from 30. Now, this is going to be really interesting to see how this buff plays out. Clash can be a very frustrating operator to play against when she has support, but when she's on her own and you're kind of like that last man standing in that situation, she winds up being somebody that can be very weak. Unless the person that you're up against in that last man standing situation is somebody that is heavily wounded, there's not much you can do, because in order to swap weapons, you have to put the shield on your back in order to pull it out, and those few moments of the weapon change is going to be leaving you vulnerable and will almost always result in Clash getting killed before she can get the shot off. If she has a shield on her back to begin with and she's just got the pistol out, whether it's the semi-auto pistol or the previous version of it that had the 2-round burst, typically it was going to be the kind of weapon that you would be at a disadvantage with. Now this would essentially be giving her something like the equivalent of the Bearing 9 or the SMG 11 that she can respond with. Again, she's got to have that shield on her back to be able to use it. So this isn't like giving Monty or Blitz a full auto submachine gun. They have the ability to have their shield out in front of them, and without aiming down sights, they can still fire using that hip fire. Because Clash must put the shield on her back, she does not gain that advantage to being able to have a shield up for protection while hip firing. So the trade-off is that in order to get that fully automatic SMG, she's got to have that shield put away, and so she lacks that protection when she's got it out. This to me seems something that is a little bit more well balanced. One of the reasons I don't enjoy playing Clash is that yes, she can be very effective at shutting down certain approaches. She can stand in a door, and if you can't get close to her, then there's not a lot you can do, and it can be really frustrating, and it can be a very effective tactic using Clash. However, she's often not very fun to play as, even if using her can be effective. Furthermore, using her effectively oftentimes will depend on your ability to be supported by the rest of your team. And if you're solo queuing, or if the rest of your team has been taken out and you're just kind of standing there all by yourself without that backup, she winds up being very unfun to have in those situations because she can be countered so easily. It's going to be really interesting to see the way that this changes things up for Clash, because right now she is a very underpicked operator. Even though she has great utility, she's just been very unfun to actually play. Moving on from that, we do have a couple of other operators that are getting some small weapon adjustments, and the first of those is Kaid. His ADS speed on the AUG is being increased by 33% to align with other SMGs, so when he does that aim down sights, he will be doing it a little bit quicker than he had been up to this point. Although I think a lot of people would prefer to see him getting a little bit of a damage increase on that gun. It does seem to be overall a weaker weapon when it comes to the damage it outputs. Then we've got a damage change on the MP5. This is the one that affects Doc and Rook. This isn't Mute's MP5K. So this is going to essentially bring its damage from 30 down to 27. I don't know if this change was necessary. It doesn't seem like it to me, but it looks like it was something they wanted to try out on the test server. As usual, there's a variety of other bug fixes and repairs that are going on in the game that are listed here. You can see these for yourself. You can also follow the link down below to check them out in full detail. Obviously, the biggest changes, though, that they're looking at on this particular session on the test server are the nerf to CAV and the buff to Clash. So let me know, what do you guys think about these changes? Is this something you want to see them bring to the full game, or would you rather have these changes not graduate from the test server? If you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as I make new content available. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.